Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Slides Coasters, a podcast. We are back at it yet again. This time, so just to give you guys some clarification real quick. I've been busy. I have been super busy. I've had a ton of stuff going on in my personal life that I've had to go and cover and kind of just break down. I had my computer function issues, and I'm still recovering from that. There's a lot of stuff going on with that as well. Just outside of Slides Coasters, I've been doing a lot of stuff with my other organizations I'm a part of. Coasters is not everything that I do, buddy. It really isn't. And a lot of people kind of forget about that because I've had a lot of people message me like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm busy. I'm doing stuff. Give me a little bit, all right? October, November, September, October are really my massively busy. Is that a good word for it? Massively busy? Insanely busy. I think that's a better word for it. Just for myself, just because I got a ton of stuff going on. I got haunts, I got friends, I've got friends' birthdays, I got friends' events. I went on vacation down to Florida. So we have a lot of stuff to cover from October, and then of course we have stuff coming into December. So we got a lot of stuff to cover here at Slides and Coasters. Of course, as always, month of November, we're going to kind of take it back. We're going to kind of run through the coaster season, and just kind of talk about what's going on. Of course, we got IAPA coming up here real soon, and I think that's going to be pretty big. We're going to have some coverage over that. Of course, Slides to Coasters on location. We're actually going to be bringing some of that stuff back. Um, just to give you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, I actually have correspondents throughout the United States who give me information on various things. And actually, my Florida correspondent, who I've been working with for a little while, he's actually going to start giving me actual notifications and updates about really the slides and coasters you love down in Florida. Mainly talking about Disney. So we're going to do a lot more Disney content over the next few weeks. As Christmas is rolling through, of course, we're going to have coverage of what's going on at the parks. I know for myself, it's going to be really fun because I'm up here in Cincinnati, but I've got a crew basically down in Florida. I think that's pretty cool. Just say as Slides Coasters as an organization, we are branching out. We are moving into a larger community, so to speak. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. And of course, you guys are more than welcome to come along for the ride. We're going to be posting a lot of stuff all over the place. Of course, we have been posting a little bit onto our Instagram. So if you want to go and check that out, you're more than welcome to. I think that's going to kind of be where we're going to put up a lot and slate up a lot of our content is in the Instagram. Because we're currently at, I believe, if I look over here right now, I just switch over from my personal one. We're at 101 followers. So thank you guys very much for following and just kind of, taking some time and saying, hey, what's going on? I thought I posted more on here. I guess I didn't. Oh, damn. I got to post more because I've been posting a lot of stuff on my personal Instagram, like, what's going on? But with that in mind and that being said, let's kind of break down the topic of today is my top 10 steel coasters of 2021. Coaster season for me is officially over. I have done everything that I want to do. I feel like I've accomplished everything. I've ridden all the coasters I want to. Doesn't mean I'm not going to go to the parks more. It just means I'm not going to go to any more parks that actually have coaster credits. And for myself personally, this comes at a time to where I'm focusing a lot more on where I'm going next year. So, November is typically when I take some time, probably next week. I'm going to sit down and kind of think about where I want to go next year. I always do this next week. And in fact, we might even have a show kind of talking about trip planning and trip reporting and that kind of stuff for you guys, because I want to give you guys the best quality information about how to go and do these theme parks. Because as I talked about with my friend over the weekend, he's just getting into theme parks. He's just getting into coasters. He's just now starting to ride a bigger coasters at Kings Island. And I told the guy, buddy, you got to go to Cedar Point. You got to go to Holiday World. You got to go to all these places. So we're going to kind of talk about that next week. Probably. We're going to be putting out a lot more shows, so expect for there to be a lot more frequency when it comes to Slides to Coasters, content, and etc. So be on the lookout for that. But let's kind of talk about our top 10 steel coasters here for 2021. Just to give you some context here, I ranked to 50 coasters. So originally I ranked around 30 something, 25. I ranked to 50 now just because there's so much quality coasters in my top 50 that I feel as if you have to kind of start ranking up to that point. I currently sit at 243 coaster credits. So that is something that I am proud to say currently. It is less than what I wanted to be at by this time this year. Originally, I was planning on going to Pennsylvania or Texas, which those have been postponed due to the COVID pandemic. And I've gotten a lot of flack from some of my close friends because I'm talking about going to Pennsylvania for a very, very long time. But the critical point for me is that I want to do these parks right. I do not want to screw it up because if I do it the wrong way and if it's the first time ever going, I'm going to hate it. I am going to despise it. I'm not going to love it. I'm just not going to have a good positive mindset over it because it's something I experienced with a bad sour taste in my mouth. So I kind of want to do this right. And of course, with new parks coming up next year, that gives me a lot of opportunity to do a lot more. But as of right now for 2021, I got three new, basically four, but we're not going to talk about one of them. I forgot to add that one, so I got 244 now. Huh. Yeah, so it's 244. I forgot about that one. Forgot about Hagrid's. That's a coaster I actually really enjoyed. I actually got to ride that when I was on Islands Adventure. Um, I cannot believe I forgot about that one. I'm looking at my rankings right now, and I noticed on the Islands Adventure category, I did not put in Hagrid's. And I'm like, what am I doing here? So let's kind of talk about my original top 10 from last year and kind of talk about what has changed this year. So my top 10 currently from last year was Orion at Kings Island. So that's our Giga at Kings Island. I really enjoyed that. But, you know, I am very vocal about the fact that I think it could have been better, but it's still a great coaster. To be 244 credits, Orion's a pretty damn good coaster. Number 9 is Diamondback at Kings Island, of course. If you guys know me, I love my Diamondback. I love my Hyper. I actually started riding that a little bit more in October. You know, that's one of the coasters I don't really ride that often just because I'm typically riding Mystic or Banshee. And Diamondback typically does receive a larger crowd. So a lot of those smaller coasters get less of a crowd and it gives me a lot more ride time on those. Number 8 here is Mako. So Mako down at SeaWorld Orlando. That's a very fun coaster. I personally enjoy it. Mako's one of those hit or miss. You know, people love it or people hate it. There's no true rhyme or reason to it. And I think that just in general, as you look at my coaster rankings from last year, you see this little B&M streak right here. You know, you got Orion, Diamondback, Mako, and then you got Goliath that over Georgia, which I believe is the superior, supreme, the magnifique, the coup d'etat of all B&M hypers. And I'd even argue to a greater degree, that Goliath is one of the best coasters in the nation. As you see here, you know, it's on my top, it's in my top 10. As we move forward here, you got number 6 is Maverick. So that's the Intamin Blitz up there at Cedar Point. I really enjoy that coaster. Number 5 is Arm Rattler, the RMC down at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, which I will probably be going back there next year. That is a coaster I want to get back to. It is really cool. I love that coaster because you got the elements. We'll kind of talk about this more when we go into my current top 10. Just due to the quarry wall. There's a lot of interaction there. I freaking love it. Number 4 is X2 over at Six Flags Magic Mountain. You know, again, this is one of those classic arrows, and I hate to say classic because it feels like it's not classic, but it is now, so to speak. I remember when this was put in. I remember the moment that I saw this, I'm like, wow, that's a really cool coaster. And then I actually got to ride it 2 years ago, and I'm like, wow, it's actually a really great coaster, and I got it number 4. As we go up to number 3, we got Banshee at Kings Island. Again, that's one of my favorite inverts, one of my favorite coasters out there, and that is a coaster that, you know, it comes back to this mantra that if you were to be given a free ticket to ride anything for today, which coaster would you ride? I'd say Banshee. Banshee's up there. Banshee's one of those coasters. Number 2, Fury 325 down at Carowinds. This is a coaster that honestly kicks ass. It is an amazing coaster. It's something I love and adore with all my heart. And this is where when you get to Fury on my list, you can kind of bracket things out. So like you've got the 99 percenters, right? So you got the 99 percenters, then you get the 100 percenters. So that's number one, right? Um, or like the 99.99%, because you really can't have a truly perfect coaster, so to speak. That's better to say than 100%. Um, as we look at this, Fury 325 has a significant drop off from Steel Vengeance, which is my number one. It's significant enough to where you can see that this has a lot more quality, and the drop off from Fury to Banshee is also a greater drop off. Um, there's a lot of quality in my top 10, and I feel as if just in general for myself, that's where you have a lot of potential. When you're at top 10 of 243 coasters, that's really good. Uh, Sorry, I just had to go and text one of my friends that I'm recording right now. Not going to do that. Not going to call while I'm recording. But with that being said, let's kind of talk briefly, real quick, about how to use these rankings. I wanted to make sure I talk about this before I go into it because a lot of people look to the talking heads for their personal rankings. And let me tell you this right now. Do not use my coaster rankings as the methodology for your personal coaster rankings. I know what shoes you're in. I know what you're going through right now. I know you're listening to the big guys, the quote-unquote big guys. We, as coaster enthusiasts, have an obligation to go and rank properly. And that obligation sometimes just isn't met. There are a lot of people who use their rankings to discredit people. And, I think that's kind of bullshit. I'm just going to be real for a second. I think that's utter bullshit. I know people, and I can say their names, but I'm not going to because I'm not an asshole. But, and I know that's kind of taking things a little bit far, but, I'm going to be real. What you like is what you like. This show is supposed to be a way for you to kind of say, yeah, I like that coaster too. Or, hey, I haven't been on that coaster yet. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you think? Don't use what I think as methodology for you to say, I like this coaster because X, Y, and Z. Do not rank those coasters higher than what you would have because I'm saying, yeah, I rank this pretty high. Because there are some coasters, just like how you probably have some coasters in your personal coaster rankings, that I personally put up there that a lot of people say that I'm crazy for. Prime example, just rolling it out, Banshee and Mako. Those are two coasters that a lot of people look at me kind of cockeyed, like, what are you doing here? Like, Mako? Really? I love Mako. I love Banshee. They're two really fun coasters. I think they're really great experiences. And I think the same could be said for Maverick. A lot of people look at me when I say Maverick. You rank Maverick above Cheetah Hunt, which is kind of like there's a battle between those two coaster communities, saying, oh, this one, that one, this one, that one. I personally like Mako, and I personally like Maverick. I like Maverick a lot more than Cheetah Hunt. In fact, Cheetah Hunt's currently on that last previous list, 17. So, with that in mind, I just wanted you guys to know that I care a lot about what you think as a coaster enthusiast. At the end of the day, you cannot listen to those coaster guys who are sitting there and who have 1,000 coaster credits or some random number like that. Do not listen to them for what you really truly think. And if anyone tells you that you are an idiot or that you are stupid for ranking something so high, not in jest. Mind you, me and my coaster friends will have in jest, my good friend Andrew, by the way, I will jokingly tell him, you're crazy for having a Vertigo. He has a Vertigo pretty high. That he enjoys in Vertigo. But at the same time, I've actually met a lot of people who have Vertigo pretty high in the general populace. I don't treat him poorly due to that decision. I may make fun of him in a joking manner. We both know we're joking. But at the end of the day, what you like is what you like. If you enjoy a coaster, then you enjoy it. Don't let someone ruin that for you. With that being said, don't use this ranking or anyone else's ranking as methodology for you to go and say, yeah, I like this coaster too. Because then you're getting into a fan group. You're getting into a fan community. And I feel as if our personal community of enthusiasts, so to speak, ranging from all various clubs, all various personalities, we have a problem with this. We really do. We have a problem with people sitting there and using other people's rankings to justify how they feel. And I've seen it. I've personally seen it. If you don't like, a prime example, if you don't like this coaster at Peony Playland, oh, well, you don't know coasters. You don't know wooden coasters. You wouldn't know the best one if you didn't see one. You don't like Voyage at Night. You like a lightning rod more. Well, you don't know coasters, buddy. You get, I rank it off of one night of year, and you rank it off of the whole year. You just don't get it. You need to go ride Voyage at Night. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Please do not be that guy. Don't listen to those guys. Because I know they exist, and I know they know who I'm talking to, because this is something that I've told several people. Do not rank a coaster off of one night a year. Do not rank a coaster off of one night a year. But let's kind of jump in. I just wanted to get that out of the way because it's really something that's important to me, because I actually personally was affected by people saying that, hey, you like this coaster, therefore your opinion's invalid. I do not believe that, and here in Slice of Coasters, we actually disown that. I do not support that at all, and if I find that in my Discord, you're banned. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. That doesn't mean that you can't joke around and have logical debate. It just means you can't just say that, oh, well, and just come out and say that you don't believe them or you don't trust them. I think that's kind of stupid and bullshit, but that's just me. But with that being said, let's kind of hop into my top 10 here. Sorry for going on a little tangent for 2 minutes. I just wanted to get that out of the way real quick. So currently at my number 10 mark is Mako down at SeaWorld Orlando. This is a coaster, mind you, that really kicks ass. I love it. I personally enjoy it. It's something that a lot of people, when they talk about hypers, Mako is hit or miss. I personally believe that it is one of the better hypers out there. And the fact that you can sit there and you can ride it time and time again and get a similar experience, I love it. I love that racing bit at the end where you're kind of hopping around left and right. I love the fact that the amount of theming and detail put in for this coaster, because they really actually took their time and thought about, okay, what is a jumping fish? A Mako. The fact that they went on in and they made those details, they made the corrections, they made the directional elements. I enjoy it. I love it. I think that is one of the better reflections, so to speak, of what a good B&M can deliver. And I'm going to be very clear about it. I think Mako is one of the better B&Ms out there. Don't get me wrong. It's not the best coaster in Orlando. And I can say that now. It is not the best coaster in Orlando. But it's a pretty damn good B&M. Let's talk about number 9 here. Millennium Force. It's an Intamin up at Cedar Point. This has been like, Millennium and TTD, Top Thrill Dexter, they have both been the banes of my existence, because every single time I go to the park, it will either be down or the lines will be crazy. This last time I rode Millennium, I rode Top Thrill Dexter. Millennium Force felt like what it's themed after. It feels like a space journey, so to speak. It is modern. It is a lot of going up into the air and then coming back down. I personally enjoyed the experience. I thought it was an amazing reflection, an amazing element of, wow, this has a lot of airtime. Wow, this has a lot of curves. Wow, this has a lot of great elements strewn throughout. And the fact that you get a commanding view of Cedar Point just adds on time and time again. When you ride Coaster Cedar Point, you do get a lot of views. Millennium Force, I feel, is a lot different. You get a lot more time to look around, see what's going on, and plus, you're practically up there. Besides Top Thrill Dragster, you are at the highest point of the park. You can look around, you can see what's going on. And for Millennium Force, you get that element, and then you dive straight on into, honestly, an amazing, beautiful drop. Coming right back out, and you're just on this journey of airtime and of speed, a lot of laterals, and I felt like that was really a big part of Millennium Force for me, was the fact that you're just going all over the place. And it had a very good reflection of, hey, you got some airtime here, you got some curves here, uh, and it's a very drawn out coaster. It's a lot more drawn out, and just in general, I personally enjoyed it. I thought that the weight was amazing. I thought the curvature through that little tunnel element was really fun. Uh, I just absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. It is a great coaster, and I believe personally it deserves that number 9 spot for me. Let's talk about number 8, Goliath at Six Flags Over Georgia. This is the coup d'etat for hypers. I talk about Mako being a prime choice for being a hyper, but Goliath is the best. I personally believe that we need more Goliaths out there, less of everything else. And that's very common with a lot of people who I talk about with hypers. They talk about Diamondback. They talk about Goliath. Goliath is one of those coasters that delivers on thrills, delivers on airtime, and delivers on that beautiful helix outside of the park. There are very few coasters out there that I can say is very close to a perfect coaster. Goliath grays me out. Goliath has the appropriate height, the appropriate speed, the appropriate amount of airtime. It bucks you. It goes all over the place. I think it's an amazing coaster. And, for as much as I hate to say it, it's one of those coasters I would love to see, not RMC, cloned. I think that would be a great clone, but, Six Flags didn't do that, of course. It has the layout, it has the speed, it has the intensity, it has this really, really cool outside of the park experience where you're going through that little curvature, and I absolutely love it. And of course, you got the airtime mixed in. It has a commanding view over the whole entire park, and really Georgia, Atlanta in general, because you do get to look around and say, "Wow, that's actually pretty nice." Um, and just looking at my personal photos of Goliath, again, it's a very, very beautiful coaster in general. That beautiful turquoise blue with that orange really stands out in this whole entire area of the park. Um, but yeah, it definitely deserved my number 8. It is the best hyper, in my opinion, in the B&M standard. I've ridden a ton of hypers now, and I can say, even for Giovanolas, it is the best hyper. And I think that it deserves a lot more credit than it does. Going into number 6 here is Iron Rattler. Iron Rattler is a coaster that, if you haven't heard me talk about before, this is a coaster that originally, when I was younger, I thought was the perfect prime coaster. It had everything I was looking for, and it still does. It has the inversions, it has the tunnel element, it has the speed, it has the intensity, it has the interaction with the quarry wall. I think it's an amazing attraction. But, again, it is number 6, and it is not the best RMC that I've ridden. There is one more at the very top of the list that you'll see here soon. That is better. Don't get me wrong. Iron Rattler is still a really great ride. I think that, if you haven't been to Fiesta, Texas, which I know is kind of difficult to get down there just because it is, Texas is kind of a place where, you have to clump it with Oklahoma, so to speak, to where you go and do, Oklahoma, and then you go on down to over Texas, and you go and do, ZBTs, Schlitterbahn, then you go on down to San Antonio and do all that stuff with Fiesta, with SeaWorld San Antonio, and then you probably end up at, Hema Boardwalk. That part of the nation, you really got to get out there. You really got to go check it out, because I do believe it's honestly One of the better RMCs. It doesn't have much issues. When I rode it, I thought it was amazing. I thought the back seat was incredible. You definitely get a lot of airtime. You get a lot of that powerful energy just going through that top, which, mind you, there is something to be said about riding a coaster, coming up into the top of the quarry wall, just kind of prancing around a little bit. And then you just come straight back down over it, which I think is just an incredible view of the park. It's an incredible sight. Then, of course, you actually go through a quarry wall, which I think the tunnel element's just really beautiful, really well designed, really well laid out. But yeah, that's my number. That's my number what? My number 6. Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking. I got the 2020, and then I got 2021 right next to it. So I'm looking like back and forth, back and forth. Let's talk about number 5. X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Again, this is one of those coasters that kind of delivers different experience every single time because it is an XD coaster. You do spin a little bit on those outer rims. You kind of shift a little bit here and there. X2 is a coaster that feels like it should be a Vekoma, like a Vekoma flying coaster, mixed in with the intensity of a really good classic Aero. It has that modern element that I think is incredible, and it has the height, it has the speed, it has the intensity, but it always feels like you're flying. It's a coaster that I think I found to be a lot more interesting just because it has that flying mechanic. And I've always been a fan of, going up into a coaster and actually feeling like you're flying around rather than just being attached to a track. And for X2, it really does make a difference. It honestly makes a difference. Just in general, it's a beautiful attraction and it's a lot of great elements. Of course, when you come on back into that pseudo Immelman, like that half loop, in some parts you are hanging above the track, some parts you're hanging under the track, which I think kind of delivers a very interesting experience. And of course, just in general, the whole entire coaster track itself, I rarely feel bored. I rode that coaster maybe 2-3 times. It never makes me kind of feel like, oh, it's kind of getting boring. It always feels really fast. It feels amazing. I enjoy it. And just overall in general, I think that more people need to get out Six Flags Magic Mountain and actually ride some of the coasters out there, because the coasters that are at Magic Mountain, I believe, are pretty good for Six Flags Park. And that's not saying that Six Flags is a bad chain. I'm just saying in general, like, comparison to over Georgia, St. Louis, Magic Mountain is a breath of fresh air. It has a ton of beautiful coasters, a ton of beautiful views. And of course, X2, it has those seats where it kind of moves a little bit and spins. I love that part of the experience. I think that it adds an extra level of detail to the overall experience of the ride. But yeah, that's my number 5, X2. Number 4 here is Banshee. It is the perennial favorite, the perennial classic. I was getting worried last year because I felt like there was a lot of a rattling experience last year, but I think it kind of went away. The past few times I rode it, it didn't really feel much rattling, but, Banshee, it is a favorite. I love it. I just totally enjoy it. I adore it. It's a coaster that I believe that gets a lot less love because a lot of people love Raptor. And when they ride Banshee, it's a totally different experience. Raptor is more about the very small, compact experience. Banshee is all about the longevity, about flowy. Think about riding across with a Banshee. That's what Banshee is. And I think that a lot of people give it a lot more crap because it is more of a flowy coaster. Banshee delivers on the drop. It delivers on the Immelman. It delivers on the keyhole loop, the 0G roll, the pretzel knot. Everything about that coaster always just makes me love it a little bit more. Rarely do I ever get off and think, I didn't really care for it. I thought it still kicks ass. I think it's still an amazing attraction. It's an amazing part of the park. It honestly kind of sets up that part of the park in general because that whole entire atmosphere of Action Zone near Banshee is kind of dominated by Banshee overlooking the whole entire region. Like, hey, this is the key element, this is the key marker of the park. So I personally love it. I enjoy it. I think it's an amazing attraction, amazing part of the park. Uh, I would talk more about it, but I wanted to give some more time for our top three here because we're coming into the top three, and you guys have heard me talk about Banshee a lot. Let's go to number three, Fury 325 down at Carowinds. This is a coaster that I think that a lot of people kind of get mixed in between just because there are people who really love Fury. And then there's people who say, I don't really care for it. You know, I like other stuff a lot more. I like the Intamins more. There's nothing wrong with liking Fury. I personally enjoy it. I got it number three. It's fast. It has a lot of key elements. I do enjoy going under the walkway, and of course that little triple clef element. The last bit, just in general, when you go over the first drop and when you're going down, when you're going into the outfield, it's such a beautiful part of the park, and it really kind of dominates the view and dominates the atmosphere, so to speak. Because when you're going through those elements, you're seeing all the parts of the parking lot. You're seeing all parts of the park. And it just kicks so much ass. It is such a beautiful coaster. I love the theming. I love the layout. I love the little Fury 325 spiel as you're going up the lift hill. And it just feels as if once you keep on going, it just keeps on speeding up. It just keeps on rolling, keeps on punching. I absolutely adore Fury 325. With that being said, I'm kind of upset that it's booted down a little bit because, again, it doesn't react. It doesn't operate like the top two coasters I have on my list. And it's sad for me to say, but it's true. Fury delivers a lot about that speed and intensity, a little bit of that airtime. It delivers on those key figures, but it doesn't deliver on the inversions. And as we go in here to my number two, Velocicoaster down at Islands of Adventure. Yeah, that's right. Fury 225 was unseated by Velocicoaster down Islands of Adventure. This is a coaster that I honestly, when I first sat down into the coaster seat, I'm thinking, wow, number one, this is Jurassic World. I love dinosaurs. I love Jurassic Park. I love Jurassic World. I love everything about this coaster. Let's go. Let's have some fun. That first launch, it's beautiful. As you're racing through the paddock with, raptors here and there, you don't really see the raptors as much. You do notice them if you know where to look. But it's such a beautifully lush area that you're working with. You're going through some rocks. You're going through all over the place. The storyline adds up. It's a very beautiful, very sight-oriented coaster. Then as you go on up into that top hat, it is such a beautiful view of Jurassic Park, of Hogwarts with Harry Potter, and then you got just everything throughout the park you can see from up there, and it's such a beautiful top hat. The Mosasaurus roll, though, is so freaking good because it delivers a little bit of that hang time when you're sitting there and you're looking down and, well, really you're looking up while looking down, and you see the water, you're like, oh my gosh, I could actually fall in. That's what I thought in my head, like, oh my gosh, I could fall in. It was such an amazing experience. It's a very close thing to a religious experience, mind you. I believe this is one of those coasters you can really say, if you haven't ridden it yet, do not overhype. Don't let me hyping it up overhype you. You need to come in with a little bit lower standards and lower ideas because it is a really good coaster. I rank it pretty well. I rank it pretty high. But don't let that ruin it for you, because it is a really good coaster. Even non-coaster enthusiast friends of mine absolutely adore this coaster. It's one of my favorite ones of them all. It kicks ass. It has the elements. It has the inversions. It has the speed. It has airtime. It has everything I want in a coaster. It's just that good. And honestly, if I could be real for a minute, I had a struggle because I was thinking to myself, is this better than Steel Vengeance? And that is something I did not think would happen. I actually sat there, as I was sitting there talking with my coaster friends, I said, hey, I think this might actually be better than Steel Vengeance. And I sat down and I looked at it and I put out a little check mark, right? I put down, okay, which one does more? Which one does more? Steel Vengeance did win it out, but Velocicoaster was just that good. It's my number 2. It is the coaster that I would ride, and don't get me wrong, I'm probably going back because I'm buying myself a season pass, annual pass for Universal. So I'm going back to the parks. I'm going to be riding this a lot more. But damn, Velocicoaster is just such a good ride. It really, honestly, it felt like when I first got off of Fury, when I first got off of the Lightning Rod, when I first get off of Steel Vengeance. Wow, that thing kicked ass. Let's ride again. That's Velocicoaster. That's what almost unseated Steel Vengeance. Don't get me wrong. I need to ride Steel Vengeance again because I need to figure out whether or not if it's actually as good. I still think it's good. I think it's better, but I want to ride again just to make sure. My number 1, of course, is Steel Vengeance. This is the bucking bronco of the North. This is the baby. This is the honey. This is the coaster that I would ride all day if I could. This thing kicks ass. This thing is a work of art. There's a lot of people who don't like it. There's a lot of people who don't really care for some of the last portions, but I absolutely adore it. That outward curve with the airtime moment, I think, is incredible. You just have a ton of positive inversions, positive energy. And as you kind of circle the Coliseum, it's kind of like you're just popping through and you're weaving through, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hit something, but you never do. But it is just such a good ride. It is such a good ride. There's so much airtime. There's so much energy. There's so much just really good ride elements. The first drop is the best drop in the park. And that's saying something. The airtime is the best airtime in the park. And that's saying something. Don't get me wrong. I love Maverick's airtime drop. I love Millennium's drop. But Steel Vengeance just kicks ass. Steel Vengeance is one of those coasters that I can mark off every single thing that I love in a coaster and think, that's the coaster. That's the ride. That's what I want to be on all day. If I could, I would buy a replica and put it in my backyard and just run it all year. I would. I would love to do that. That is something I would love. But I don't have several $1 million sitting in my bank account right now. It's something I really enjoy. It's something I really want to start doing a lot more. I want to start writing Steel Vengeance a lot more just because next year I am going to be doing a lot more Steel Vengeance traveling just because I'm going to be going up to Cedar Point a lot more. That leads into some things I can't announce yet, but I'm going to be doing a lot more, and I might be going up for a coaster event up there. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed my top 10. What do you guys think? Where do you guys put some of my coasters to put in my top 10? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments as well. If you guys want to go and tell me in the Discord, as well if you want to tell me over on our Instagram, we'd love to hear from you. We're going to be posting something over there just kind of highlighting the show and just kind of talk about my number 1 and kind of talking about some of the things that I want to see next year. Next week, or maybe at the end of this week, we'll be having a show about my top 10 wood. It stayed the same, but there's a little bit of change. I have modified a little bit. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys stay warm out there. I know it has been getting cold. I'm waiting for the day when we get our first snow. Stay tropical. We'll see you guys in the next one.